15 Facts About Somalia. Number 15. A country that functioned without a government. Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and the government has disappeared. No police, no courts, no taxes, no hospitals, no public schools. No one to protect you from thieves, no one to collect the trash, no one to make laws. In any modern country, chaos would break out within weeks. But in Somalia, this impossible scenario actually happened, and it lasted for 21 years. Terrifying, right? From 1991 to 2012. Somalia had no central government, no army, no parliament, no tax system. And yet the country didn't collapse. When the state fell apart, Somalis created their own rules. Clan elders established zir courts, an ancient system of justice based on honor and promises. In these courts, men served as judges, while women had to be represented by their fathers or brothers. With no police, clans maintained order themselves, and punishments weren't prison sentences, but payments in camels, goats, or gold. Without banks, they invented the Hawala money transfer network, allowing international remittances with just a spoken word. Without a Ministry of Education, teachers built schools in the desert, writing on wooden boards with charcoal. Without a Ministry of Health, people opened clinics inside their homes. And most surprisingly, without a Ministry of Telecommunications, Somalia became one of the fastest-growing mobile network countries in East Africa. Yes, Somalis became some of the most self-reliant citizens on Earth. By the time the government officially returned in 2012, people no longer depended on it. They had already learned to run their own lives. Number 14. A nation where everyone leaves. If there were a contest called Who Leaves Their Homeland, the most Somalia would be among the top. For more than 3 decades, millions of Somalis have fled their country, escaping war, drought, poverty, and terrorism. According to the United Nations, over 900,000 Somalis live as refugees abroad, and nearly 3 million have migrated. That's almost 1/5 of the entire population. These numbers place Somalia on the same level as Syria or Afghanistan in terms of migration crises. But this isn't just a story of despair. The Somali people carry a nomadic spirit thousands of years old. They've always moved to find water, pasture, and opportunity. Today, instead of leading camels across the desert, they cross oceans in search of a better life in Europe, North America, or the Gulf. In cities like Minneapolis in the US or London in the UK, Somali communities have formed their own mini-nations, complete with tea houses, mosques, and stores proudly displaying the white-starred blue flag. And those who stayed, they live in one of the world's 10 most dangerous countries, where 7 out of 10 people live in poverty, and 40% of the GDP comes from money sent by relatives abroad. Those dollars from faraway places are literally the lifeblood of Somalia's economy. Number 13. Marrying 4 wives with just camels. Under the scorching 113°45 sun and the relentless desert winds, Somali women remain incredibly resilient. They wear bright hijabs, walk miles to fetch water, care for children, cook meals, and hold their families together, while nomadic men spend months away from home. They are strong, skillful, and considered the keepers of their clan's honor. In the capital, Mogadishu, you can see women running markets, teaching in schools, even owning small businesses, something rare in many Muslim countries. Yet in Somalia's patriarchal culture, women's status is still undervalued. They are often treated as second-class citizens, and even marriage is more of an exchange than an act of love. Somali marriages still follow the tradition of mahr, a dowry paid in camels. In many regions, the groom's family must give the bride's family between 20 and 50 camels, and if the bride comes from a prestigious family, it can go up to 100. A healthy camel is worth about $2,000, meaning the cost of a wedding can equal the price of a car in America. And if you own many camels, yes, you can marry multiple wives. Islamic law in Somalia allows a man to have up to 4 wives as long as he treats them fairly. In wealthy nomadic areas, some men own hundreds of camels and 3 or 4 wives as well. Somali women accept this as part of their long-held traditions. For them, having a husband wealthy enough to share his honor with several women is a source of pride. But what about you? If love were measured in camels, how many wives do you think you could afford? Share your answer in the comments below. Number 12. The most dangerous job in Somalia isn't being a soldier, it's being a journalist. In many countries, journalism is considered the profession of truth and enlightenment. Reporters have press passes laws to protect them and organizations that support them. Some are even honored as the gatekeepers of democracy. But in Somalia, holding a microphone can be more dangerous than holding a gun. Here, journalism is the deadliest profession, riskier than going to war. According to the Committee to Protect Journalists, Somalia has consistently ranked among the top 3 most dangerous countries in the world for reporters, right after Syria and Afghanistan. Since 2010, more than 70 Somali journalists have lost their lives, and many others have faced even worse fates simply for speaking about corruption, war, or the militant group Al-Shabaab. And yet the Somali press continues to operate every single day. In Mogadishu, reporters often change sleeping locations nightly and never reveal their addresses, even to relatives. They don't drive cars with TV logos. Instead, they use old unmarked vehicles to avoid being recognized. Some record news reports on cheap phones and secretly send them abroad to be broadcast through the BBC Somali service, or Voice of America Somali. You might wonder, if it's so dangerous, why do they keep doing it? You probably think it's for the money. Not at all. Many journalists earn only a few dollars a day. So why risk everything? If you think you know the answer, share it in the comments below. Number 11. The average Somali woman has 6 children. Do you like children? In many developed countries, the question is becoming increasingly rare. From Japan to Germany, South Korea to Italy, birth rates are hitting record lows. Across Europe, some governments even pay people to have babies. But on the other side of the world lies Somalia, where the average woman gives birth to 6 children, placing the country among the top 5 highest birth rates in the world, just behind Niger and Angola. It's not because Somalis lack access to birth control, it's because they don't believe in stopping life. Childbirth is viewed as a religious duty, a family pride proof of a man's strength and a woman's loyalty. Somalis believe that many children bring many blessings, and a mother of many is seen as someone favored by God. But reality can be harsh. Only about 30% of Somali women have access to medical care during childbirth. Most give birth inside tents or out in the open desert. Infant mortality rates are among the highest in the world. For every 10 babies born, at least 1 doesn't survive the first year. In rural northern areas, it's common for mothers to have 8 to 10 children, but only 6 or 7 live long enough to go to school. Number 10. A rich tradition of oral storytelling. In most parts of the world, history is recorded in books. But in Somalia, a country where nearly 70% of the population was illiterate during the 1970s, people preserved their past through memory and voice. Before the Latin alphabet was officially adopted in 1972, all Somali history laws, traditions, and philosophies were passed down orally from generation to generation. And even today, as the internet reaches every village, oral storytelling remains the soul of Somali culture. Poetry here isn't just an art form, it's a weapon and a voice of the people. Somalis say, "He who masters words masters hearts." Poetry is considered the highest form of communication capable of replacing debate law or even war. In a land where clan conflicts can last for years, a well-crafted poem can sometimes resolve disputes more effectively than bullets. The United Nations has even recognized Somalia as the country with the highest number of poets per capita in Africa. Somali poets known as Buranbur recite verses at weddings, festivals, and clan gatherings. Their poetry speaks of love, honor, justice, and the longing for freedom. A powerful poem can spread across the entire Horn of Africa within days, without paper, without the internet, just by word of mouth. Beyond poetry, storytelling and proverbs shape Somali moral values. Elders tell tales of Arawello, the legendary queen who once ruled over men, or stories of talking deserts and camels with human-like memories. Somali proverbs are used daily in conversations to teach or to argue. They say he who doesn't listen to his parents will learn through tears. And a lost camel is still better off than a man who doesn't know where he's going. Music, too, is inseparable from this tradition. During Danto ceremonies, an ancient collective dance Somalis sing to tell stories, to remember, and to survive. Number 9. Money becomes a commodity in the money market. What comes to mind when you hear the phrase financial market? Maybe skyscrapers in New York, London, or Tokyo, where well-dressed traders analyze algorithms and price charts all day. Well, forget everything you know, because in Somalia, Wall Street looks nothing like that. Right in the heart of Mogadishu lies Bakara Market, a place where cash isn't just used to buy things, it's actually bought and sold as a commodity. Here, you'll see men sitting under the scorching sun surrounded by towering piles of Somali shilling banknotes. No safes, no banks, no guards, just the desert wind blowing over faded, crumpled bills, and the sounds of bargaining echoing like in a vegetable market. Because there's no official exchange rate, the Somali shilling is almost worthless on the international market. Hard to believe, but with just $10, you can buy up to 50 kilograms of banknotes. That's right, in this place, people can count money until their hands ache and still not have enough for a decent meal. Travelers who've been there say they needed bags, not wallets, to carry enough cash for a few simple purchases. Even torn, stained, or barely readable bills still circulate, as long as both sides trust in their value. Money is pushed around in wheelbarrows between buyers and sellers like potatoes or vegetables. There's no central bank, no financial regulations. Yet somehow this economy keeps running powered purely by trust. Number 8. A country where cell phones are more common than clean water and electricity. It sounds like a joke, but it's one of Somalia's strangest truths. Here, you can transfer money with an old cell phone, but you might have to walk miles to get a bucket of clean water. According to the United Nations, over 70% of Somalis own a mobile phone, while only 50% have access to clean water, and fewer than 40% have reliable electricity. In other words, 4G signal is easier to find than drinking water. So how can a poor, drought-stricken country with so little electricity be flooded with mobile coverage? The answer lies in one of Somalia's most unusual economic paradoxes. After the government collapsed in 1991, Somalia's survival depended on its massive diaspora, more than 2 million Somalis living in Europe, the US, and the Middle East. Every year they send home around $1.3 billion in remittances, about 40% of the country's GDP. That money became the lifeline that allowed families back home to buy phones, stay connected, and receive money through mobile wallets faster and safer than keeping cash. Private companies like Hormud Telecom turned mobile phones into an alternative banking system. In rural areas, people buy goats, pay school fees, or send wedding gifts via text message without bank accounts or even electricity. They charge their phones with small solar panels or community generators shared among neighbors. In Somalia, mobile phones aren't just tools, they're the heartbeat of everyday life. Number 7. Somali men often wear a skirt called mawis. If you ever visit Somalia, don't be surprised to see men wearing skirts. It's not a joke, it's a proud tradition. The garment is called a mawis. At first glance, it looks similar to a Southeast Asian sarong made from lightweight fabric with colorful stripes or intricate patterns. Under the harsh 140-degree heat, the mawis keeps men cool, flexible, and comfortable as they move across the desert. From farmers and merchants to elders, nearly every Somali man owns at least a few mawis in his wardrobe. In Somali culture, wearing a mawis isn't seen as feminine or weak. It's a symbol of freedom, simplicity, and confidence in one's identity. During festivals or weddings, men pair the mawis with a crisp white shirt and a traditional headscarf, creating a look that's both dignified and elegant, a unique style from the Horn of Africa. Somalis even like to joke. A real man isn't afraid of the wind seeing his knees. Number 6. TikTok and Telegram are banned in Somalia. Are you a TikTok fan? In Somalia, the government banned TikTok and Telegram in August 2023. The official reason authorities claimed it was to curb fake news and inappropriate content. But Somalis saw it differently. Many believe the ban violates freedom of speech and hurts the economy because TikTok and Telegram are vital tools for communication and business for millions of people. And here's something even more surprising. If you think Somalia's restrictions are harsh, look at its neighbor Eritrea. In Eritrea, there's no need to ban TikTok because people don't even have internet at home. Eritrea is one of the countries with the slowest and most restricted internet in the world. To go online, you have to visit government-controlled internet cafes. And not just TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and nearly all social media platforms are completely blocked. So while Somalia restricts only a few apps, Eritrea controls the entire internet, making it one of the most secretive and heavily censored nations on Earth. Number 5. Women cannot independently own land. In Rwanda, Somalia's western neighbor, women can legally own land, take out bank loans, and enjoy the same legal rights as men. Thanks to these reforms, women now control more than 40% of the country's farmland, a milestone the United Nations has praised as a gender equality revolution in Africa. But less than 1,000 kilometers away in Somalia, a harsh and paradoxical reality still exists. A woman can manage the crops, but she cannot own the land she works on. Under a mix of Islamic law and the ancient Zir clan system, land in Somalia belongs to male lineage. Women cannot buy, sell, or even inherit agricultural property. When a father dies, his land is divided among his sons, while daughters are only allowed to live on it temporarily until they get married, at which point that right transfers to their husband's family. The irony is that women are actually the backbone of Somalia's rural economy. According to the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, FAO women make up over 60% of Somalia's farmers, yet fewer than 10% hold legal ownership of the land they cultivate. They plant the seeds, carry the water, and raise livestock under the scorching desert sun. But the harvest, and even the voice to claim it, belong to men. In a BBC documentary, one Somali woman expressed it bitterly. "I was born on this land. I've lived my whole life here. But if my husband dies, I could be thrown out in just one day." Number 4. The pirate capital of the world. There was a time when the very name Somalia made the global shipping industry tremble. Across the deep blue waters of the Indian Ocean, massive oil tankers worth hundreds of millions of dollars would simply vanish. In 2011 alone, the Gulf of Aden, a crucial trade route connecting Asia and Europe, saw over 230 pirate attacks, averaging one every day and a half. In some years, the number exceeded 1,000 incidents, prompting the United Nations to label Somalia the pirate capital of the world. But the truly frightening part lies in the origins of these pirates. They weren't born criminals. They were once poor fishermen. After Somalia's government collapsed in 1991, foreign vessels invaded its waters, overfishing and dumping toxic waste. When cries for help went unheard, desperate fishermen banded together, calling themselves the Somali Coast Guard. From defenders, they turned into pirates, hijacking ships, demanding ransoms, and claiming they were restoring justice. The crisis reached its peak in 2008 when the Sirius Star, a 1-7-foot-long oil tanker, carrying 2 million barrels of crude worth $100 million, was hijacked in open waters. Even the U.S. ship Maersk Alabama was captured, the same incident later dramatized in the Hollywood film Captain Phillips starring Tom Hanks. The situation became so dire that the U.S., China, India, Russia, and the European Union all deployed warships to patrol the region 24/7. For the first time in history, naval forces from 6 world powers operated side by side, off the coast of a single poor African nation. The U.S. Navy called it the largest anti-piracy operation since the days of the Caribbean. And then, like a passing nightmare, by 2015, pirate attacks had dropped by more than 90%. Number 3. Islamic law rules. Everyday life. Somalia isn't just a Muslim-majority country, it's one of the most strictly Sharia-governed societies on earth. Over 99.8% of Somalis are Sunni Muslims, and Islam here isn't merely a faith, it's the foundation of the entire social, political, and legal system. In Somalia, every life decision from birth, education, marriage, and divorce to death is guided by Islam. Even in local markets, when prayer time arrives, everything stops shops. Close vendors kneel in the sand, and thus facing Mecca. In many rural areas, women are not allowed to go out without a male relative and must cover themselves completely with a hijab or abaya. A simple handshake with the opposite sex or laughing loudly in public can be seen as immoral. Somali children begin learning the Quran as early as age 5, and in many villages, Quranic schools are the only form of education where kids memorize hundreds of verses instead of studying math or science. Local courts don't follow civil law. They apply Sharia directly, meaning a theft can be punished by amputation and adultery by stoning, particularly in regions controlled by extremist religious groups. Number 2. Somali cuisine reflects a blend of Arab and Indian flavors. If there's one place on earth where you can eat rice with bananas, taste Indian curry, and smell Arabian spices drifting through African sea air, it's Somalia. The country's cuisine tells the story of thousands of years of trade and cultural exchange between Africa, the Arabian Peninsula, and the Indian subcontinent. Somalis cook rice with cinnamon cloves, cardamom, and ginger, much like Indian biryani, but add ripe golden bananas on the side to balance the salty and spicy flavors. For them, bananas aren't dessert, they're the spice of happiness. It might sound strange to Westerners, but in Mogadishu, a meal without bananas is like an American eating a burger without cheese. Another popular dish is Kanjiro, Somalia's version of crepes, usually eaten for breakfast with honey or spicy stew. Arab influence is also seen in Shah, the local tea so sweet that many Americans who try it for the first time are shocked by how much sugar it contains. But Somalis believe sweetness is the symbol of hospitality. Number 1. Somaliland. The country that has everything except recognition. You won't find Somaliland on any world map. But if you visit it, you'll be genuinely confused because it has its own passport currency, government army, and regular democratic elections more stable than many officially recognized nations. And yet on paper, Somaliland doesn't exist. Somaliland declared independence from Somalia in 1991, right when the country fell into civil war. Since then, it has operated completely separately, building an administrative system, writing its own constitution, and maintaining such remarkable stability that even people in Mogadishu admit they've achieved what we never could. While Somalia continues to struggle with conflict and terrorism, Somaliland remains peaceful, and its economy has quietly grown. The port of Berbera, the largest trade gateway in the Horn of Africa, has received hundreds of millions of dollars in investment from the UAE, transforming it into a key shipping hub between the Red Sea and the Indian Ocean. Landlocked Ethiopia now relies heavily on this port for its imports. Yet despite having democracy, its own currency, peace, and progress, no international organization recognizes Somaliland as an independent state. The United Nations ignores it. The African Union turns away. Somalia still calls it the lost child. And Somaliland, it proudly raises its flag every morning, a nation that truly exists in daily life, yet remains an illusion on the world map. Somaliland, often associated with war, poverty, and desert, hides countless paradoxes and unbelievable stories beneath its surface. Which fact about Somalia surprised you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more extraordinary stories from around the world.